Hello there, YouTube. It is your boy B3 back with another kicking graphic novel review. Today we are looking at Haunt Volume 1 from Image Comics. Very, very cool. I don't know if you know about my boy Haunt, but he's kind of another Venom clone, which is fine. You know, who cares, right? who, who cares? But it is by Robert Kirkman. Robert Kirkman, Invincible, The Walking Dead, etc. Fantastic writer. I would read anything Kirkman writes, especially if it's a Venom clone, because Venom is my favorite comic character of all time. And this, Todd McFarlane also worked on this, one of the co-creators of Venom. And Haunt has recently also been incorporated into kind of the Spawn universe, you know? Because Image Comics has that big Spawn universe thing going on now, because now you got the Spawn book and the Gunslinger Spawn book and King Spawn and, all these different books going on. Which is awesome. So I've been trying to catch up on Spawn, which is quite a task. It's like catching up on The Simpsons or catching up on One Piece, to be honest. But luckily Spawn's never been rebooted or renumbered or anything, which I think is great. But yeah, Haunt Volume 1. It's pretty cool. So it's about two brothers. It's just called Two Brothers. And it's pretty neat. Volume 1 has co-creator and writer Robert Kirkman. You got Greg Capullo, Ryan Ottley, Todd McFarlane. Very recognizable names. I love me some Capullo art. But, yeah. So, we have one brother who's a priest, but he doesn't really seem like the priestly type. He's a heavy smoker. He's got a chip on his shoulder. He hates his brother and doesn't really seem to care about his priestly duties. Like, he should have moved up a lot in the church by now, but hasn't, just because he doesn't really seem to care about anything. And his brother comes to confessional, to confess his sins, because he does a lot of murders for what appears to be the government, but might not be. Some kind of secret organization. So he was tasked with getting this scientist who was doing experiments on cadavers, but then he found out the scientist was experimenting on children. So he kills the scientist, and someone comes and takes the scientist's bag, which had the notebook with everything that would allow anyone who got their hands on his studies to also be able to kind of make these super soldiery things. So then, he gets tortured for the information because some other groups want to know where the notebook is, and this brother gets killed. And so the priest brother, goes to his service. Their mom's devastated, and he visits his brother's widow. And as it turns out, he used to actually date her. They were in love. And then his brother kind of swept her off her feet, so she left him for his brother. Kind of a fucked thing to do, but I guess the shart wants what the shart wants. Pretty wild. But then these guys show up to kind of kidnap her because they think she has the book with all the scientist notes in it. And, the ghost of the brother shows up, and he kind of possesses the priest brother's body and kind of turns him into this Venom-esque being called Haunt. He's got this cool spiral symbol on his chest. I'm actually going to be reviewing his action figure from McFarlane Toys in the days to come. And then he just, slaughters the goons that were sent to kill him. He has to hire a cleaner to come clean it up so that he nor his sister-in-law will get in trouble. And the cleaner's like, "How'd you get this number?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm so-and-so's brother." But yeah, so then he kind of gets in a little trouble because he shows up to work, and the father in charge of the church has been slaughtered. So now the Kilgore brothers have to fight this assassin called Cobra, who seems really cool at first, but as you continue the book, he kind of turns out to be a bit of a cuck. Which is really funny. It's just so Kirkman, too. Like, the way Cobra is written, like, if I didn't know this book was written by Robert Kirkman, Cobra alone would make me be like, oh yeah, that's exactly how Kirkman does his jokes, like the way he's written. Really gotta love it. And the brothers, they're real pissed at each other. They have a lot of problems with each other, but since they're bonded now, and the dead brother can't be far from the live brother, they actually kind of start to reconcile. They kind of start to understand each other and forgive, and it's actually really nice to watch it happen. And the government agency that works with them kind of throws them in a cell because they don't believe that his brother's ghost is with them at first. And then there's this woman that seems to be able to see and hear the brother's ghost in the cell also, and she calls them Haunt, which is how they got their name. And eventually they do come to believe that he is possessed by his brother's ghost, and they kind of bring him into things. He finds out that the living brother finds out that his brother cheated on the wife that I don't want to say stole, because you can't really steal a woman, you know what I mean? They're not objects. You get what I mean. I don't like the word stole, but he steals the guy's wife, and then the dude cheats on her with not just the woman we find out in this book, but later we find out yet another woman. He cheats on her many times, and neither brother is perfect, Oh, excuse me. And then, the organization has a mole, and the big bad guy is like in this three-way relationship with these two ladies, which is kind of important because he ends up choosing them over the Notebook later once they are able to get their hands on it again. Haunt goes and has a little fight to save his sister-in-law once she's abducted, fights Cobra, learns that when his brother's bonded to him, it kind of drains his energy. So he could die while using his brother as a symbiote suit. That could kill him if they stay bonded too long and exert themselves too much. Cobra kind of gets slashed in the face, but then he gets these cool scar-like shark-looking face out of it, which makes him a much more interesting character visually, because he kind of just looked like generic assassin, but then they give him a better suit and, a cool scarred face. Looks much cooler. There's this woman named Mirage. She's the one that stole the Notebook, turns out, and she's offering a deal for it to the bad guy, but she kind of tips the good guys off so that they can catch him, but she can still try to get away with her money. So Haunt is able to recover the Notebook because, one of our bad guys, Lady Friends, does get injured, and he chooses her over the Notebook. But he has a mole, so the mole can just kill the director and get the Notebook for him. It does blow her cover, and she's not as valuable of an asset anymore. But, he still gets to have his cake and eat it too, I suppose. Not that there weren't losses. But then we get a new director. Her name's Beth, but she doesn't like to be called Beth. And, then Kilgore, which is the last name of the brothers, they become an official part of the agency. He doesn't have to be a priest, which he doesn't like. He only joined it because when he went to church as a kid, he always thought that priests looked content and happy, and then it didn't make him content or happy because he never actually bought into any of the God stuff. Poor guy. But that's it for Haunt Volume 1. We'll leave it to be issues 1 through 5. Very, very cool. Haunt Volume 2 is going to be issues 6 through 12. And I will be reviewing that very soon. So that's it. Thank you all very much for your support. Remember to rate, comment, subscribe. Check out all the cool links down below. And I will be seeing you all, you guessed it, next time. Bye for now.